Greetings, dear ones. I am Kryon of Magnetic Service. We would like to continue this week a subject that we started this month. Each of these channels will be about the same subject, but unique in the attributes. So for those who have not heard the others, I'll give you this. This particular channel is something that is a subject that is new on the planet, and you may not think so. I am repeating now what I've given you before. The newness of this is the attributes of the planet have changed. Imagine, if you wish, that all of a gardener knows, or those who will grow crop knows, what if that was enhanced suddenly by the planet itself, where the rain came down and it was just filled with nutrients that had never been seen before, making the crops grow 3 to 4 times what they did and faster than they ever did. A manifestation of anything planted that just races to the surface. Amazing it would be. I want you to think that way. We've used that before, that particular metaphor. I want you to think again that way with what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to call it the power of life, enhanced by light energy. There's 2 elements to this channel. The power of life on this planet, your life, and light energy that you carry. Both of those attributes are greatly enhanced past anything they've ever been. In the channel before, and those before, when we've talked about this and we have given you this information, we began by telling you things are different on the planet. That the power of life, you being here, carries an amazing influence on everything. And so the 4 channels this month will talk about 4 of the attributes of that influence. And this one will be different from the one before, or the one that'll follow. But this is one of our favorites. If it's true that your life on this planet now means something more to the energy around you, to your culture, to other humans, to Gaia itself, that means that what you can do here, you really haven't been told about. Not really. What if you, because of your life and your light energy here, could make bigger differences than any past life you've ever had, or that anything you've been told about? And that is the premise here, dear ones, that you, carrying life itself, are seen different by spirit, by the energy of that which is esoteric. Picture for a moment if more of your soul energy could be here on the planet than ever before. That multidimensionality of who you are. What if more of that, the magic of that, the divinity of that, suddenly was enhanced? Now, for those of you who have heard this before and have followed my channeling, who know the lineage of my messages, my instructions, this won't be that mysterious. You've had part of your multidimensional cellular structure awaken in the last year. That is part of it. This was by design, that there would come a time when the chromosomes that are invisible, the 24th pair, would awaken. And that they would cooperate in a way on this planet that you didn't expect. And they would need to, they would have to. And then at the same time you saw this great light happening, that life itself would mean more and that light energy would start to appear and work in magical ways. At the same time, dark would get darker and light would get lighter. Have you seen that? Do you know what I'm talking about? Again, I'll say it. Have you seen any forces on this planet invested in holding you back to your father's generation or his father's generation? And the answer is, it's everywhere. And that should be the proof, dear ones, because it surprised so many of you, the proof that what I am saying is real, that there would come a time when dark and light would start to split apart because light would start winning. And darkness would present itself in such a way that you would say, what has happened recently where there are so many ugly things starting to happen? Why would you have more life and light at this time? This is the shift, but that's not the only reason. There are so many who need your light. Did you know that the light that you carry, the light energy in the life force that you have, can be sent very, very efficiently to those who need it? Are there those right now who need it on the planet, who need comfort and peace after what has happened? And you'd say, oh yes, they're everywhere. Well, maybe that's why you have that extra light. Can people really receive peace after some of the things that have gone on in their countries or their areas? Is it possible? And the answer is more now than ever before, and it falls on the shoulders of those who carry that light and that life. Remember, their biological structure has also been enhanced. That means that their antennas are out to receive what you send. That is more than it's ever been before. They can receive it better than ever before. They don't even know anything about what we're talking about. They just know that they are receiving healing and they're receiving comfort and they're receiving peace, and they're so thankful. And it's coming from so many who are starting to realize this life energy is spectacularly different than ever before. So what is the subject this month? It's one that we also carry over into that which we call the Circle of 12. But appropriately, it's about Gaia. What if this particular enhancement that you've received is starting to enhance the partnership you have with the earth? And why would that be needed and necessary? There are so many of you who are looking at climate change. There are so many of you who are worried and fearful about this and that. Let me tell you, your partner knows all of that. How would you like to have a life force, a light force, both of them together, and sending them right into the planet itself, speaking to the dirt of the earth where the ancestors are, where they come to you and they said, this climate change we have seen before. Here is our advice. And they start talking to you in a way that makes so much sense. Don't be afraid of that which is coming, because here's what's coming. Here's what you can do. We were there to see the last cycle. Have you thought of that? Has anyone thought of that? That the answers to all of this might come from the ancestors who have been there and done that and know the advice to give you about not just a greener earth, but a way of surviving that which may be coming. Dear ones, I give you this information in love, but I tell you, this is new. This power of life that you have, this new light energy that you carry, has never been seen to this extent with any human beings on planet Earth. This is new. It comes from enhancements on the planet. It comes from the shift enhancement. It comes from the enhancement in your biology. It gives you much better ability to help others in trouble. And now this one, this subject for this week, to do something that will then cooperate with the partnership you have, not just with the planet, but to begin to see the ancestors, and I call them ancestors in the dirt. Ask the ancestors what that means. And they'll tell you it means that all of the wisdom that has ever been goes back to dust and goes into the planet and into the earth, where it can be reborn in certain ways, both in humanity and in the way Gaia speaks to you. Perhaps it's time to renew that, which is your relationship with the planet itself, the Gaia energy. All of these things, dear ones, are new. And the attributes I bring you this month in the various subjects, one of them being tonight, which is Gaia, are new. There's more. Next time we'll talk about it again. Dear ones, I want you to understand this is not simply another channel. This series is about you. Is about something that is so splendorous. What a word. About the power of the human being that is new on the planet. But you knew that, didn't you? I'm crying in love with all of you. And so it is.
Hi, I would like to ask, because I come from Iceland, and now I live in Denmark, and when I come to Iceland, I always feel the energy is very different as where it is in Denmark, for example. And I've been wondering, there was this meeting many years ago with Gorbachev and Reagan. Iceland being...
That was the Reykjaviks.
Yes, it was in Reykjavik. And I have been thinking, there had never been a war in Iceland. If you have a location that is with more clear crystalline grid, can that affect the way people communicate or negotiate?
Can I tell you something that I always felt when I heard they were going to Reykjaviks? I'd never heard of it. And I wondered where and why. And then I saw it was in Iceland. And I thought, is that just because it's neutral? I mean, so is Switzerland. I mean, we're all polarized in the Cold War, and Iceland was as well.
Yes.
So why in Iceland? Now I'm starting to realize that what you're saying was probably absolutely true.
Yeah, the energy.
Seemingly by accident or synergy or whatever you want to call it, they went to a place where the magnetic grid is very different. Now, exactly. I know, take a look at the northern lights that you have and all of the activity that's there. It's different. I think it was more commensurate to their decisions. And when I saw that on television at Christmas time. I watched them shake hands, and I said, this is different. That leader is different. This whole thing is different. And that was really the beginning of then what happened later in Russia. I think you're totally right.
And would I be correct that Iceland is quite close to Greenland? Because there is a knoll, that's one of the 12 major knolls in Greenland. And people ask, where do I go to get in touch with the knoll or the node on the planet? We want to put a pinpoint mark on a map and say this is the point. But Kryon says when it comes to those nodes and knolls, the region is affected and you can't just do a pinpoint. So Iceland is also feeling those energies of the knoll that is in Greenland, which is pure Gaia energy, a Pleiadian home, Pleiadian time capsule. I think that is also linked and related. So.
Thank you. When I lived, this really isn't about me, but when I moved to outside of Philadelphia about 15 years ago, I started doing this thing in my sleep. When I would come back to consciousness, as soon as I closed my eyes, I would see this grid and, electronic. It was just a grid up there, and it would be all these fabulous bright colors. And the whole time I lived outside of Philadelphia, I saw that every time I closed my eyes. And then I traveled around the world a lot, and a few places I would see it. But I think that I was connecting to the crystalline grid there, but it's like, why was it there and I don't connect to that every place else?
In your particular case, I don't give readings, but it had nothing to do with the crystalline grid. It had everything to do with you. You're not the only person in this room who sees that. John sees that. He sees it just like you do. In fact, we had that conversation, and it sounded like you were talking about the very identical thing. This is about the consciousness at the time for you, when it's right, what you're seeing. It's really almost like Spirit signaling things to you. So we all need the validations and the verifications. In that particular case, and in John's case, it doesn't have anything to do with the crystalline grid. These are messages for you in a way that you can understand, or at least question and make something out of it. Pay attention to the colors.
Good to see you, Lee. A number of years ago, you were given the option to take your relationship with Kryon up a notch. And I was wondering if you could explain what it might be like on a daily basis, briefly, on how you two are actually merged.
This was a story that I've told before, and it's a funny story to me because it just shouts human nature, which I'm very much a part of, and the increase in the evolution of human nature, which I'm a part of. It was some years ago, and we're doing meetings everywhere, and much the same as we are now. I was pleased with where this was going, and I'd written another book and all of that, and nothing was wrong or whatever. And in the shower, I clearly hear, "Are you ready to go to the next level?" And my reaction was, "Oh, I thought I was at the highest level." And I'll always remember that because that is so human, isn't it? I mean, I'm just admitting to you, it's not as much ego as it is, I thought I was okay. You know? And I asked, the first thing I did was get out of the shower because I didn't like the message. And then I got back in. And I asked, and the intuition came, and Kryon said, I said, "And so what is the next level?" And he says, "You're playing church with me." And I said, "What does that mean?" And he says, "You're sitting down in the chair and you show up, you dress for it." I do. And then when you leave, I'm not there until the next time you sit in the chair, and then you channel, and that's when everybody expects Kryon. And he says, "It really ought to be 24/7. I never considered I was playing church with Kryon. That never occurred to me. And then I said, "Okay, what does it mean?" And he said, "Give intent." Now I like this because he didn't say, "Well, here are the stairs to climb and here are the courses to take." And I say, "After intent," and he says, "Things will change." And they started to. And the things that changed the most for me, I didn't expect. Going to the next level sounds like you've got to work harder, that there's stuff coming that you've got to then prepare for. I had no idea what he was asking me to do was to step into the love of God in a way I'd never, ever considered. And things got so much better. But it also changed my perspective on everything eventually. It took 2 years. But then I started seeing people differently. Everyone was going through what I was going through when I'd see them on the street. No matter who they were or what, I realized that they were on earth the same as I was, figuring out the puzzle. when I started traveling to foreign countries and all of this, it was so profound because this is the way I felt to everybody. And that's why I treat people the way I treat them. There's a hierarchy that is built in, that your parents give you, your society gives you, or whatever, of who you talk to and who you don't and how you say things. Is that all right to say? I mean, it's there. And you can say, well, I'm not aware of it. Yeah, you are. We really, all of us are. And it comes from our parents, and it comes from society, and all of this. And all of that just disappeared. It just went away. And everybody was in the same bag. And that's the first thing. And then I started receiving information out of channel. And that was cool, because it helped me write the more profound things in the books. I also started getting advanced information about what the channels might be like. That helped me because the channels got better, because I was more prepared emotionally if we were going to have a channel that was emotional. So you see what happened there? It changed me. So I'm not sure my work reflected that, because there wasn't any demarcation point where Kryon suddenly got better. But there was a demarcation point where Lee got better with Lee. And that's what I teach. And that's where all of us are going. That's a 24/7 relationship to the Creator. And that's what we strive for. That's the answer to no anger. It really is. You won't go there because it's just not in your program. And you don't have to then decide or have your buttons or where are they or anything else. It's just not there. That's the answer.